and let's go. Hello, people. Fine, we're live. Give me a 5-5 just in case. I do think it's all fine. However, we're here on the Thursday after eventful yesterday. I hope you guys are feeling good and figured let's do some healing talks because, you know, those are necessary too, right? And let me greet some people. Hey, Brooklyn Way, good to see you. Law Girl, Studebuck, and Brad, and who else is there? Let me see, Chef Matt and Thea De Wit and Adam Pug. Good to see you in Gemini. So today we are with uh, I'm a bit fangirling here because this is Eric Rains, and Eric has helped me in 2017, right? We had sessions, and he's just amazing. I cannot say anything else. And my red-headed family. So from the US, and he well, to me he's very special because he helped me at the time when I was still busy with my healing and doing he's like also specialized in entity attachments. Well, actually, let me present yourself.
Okay, well, hi, I'm Eric. Yeah, you know, it's been a wild ride since 2017. And you know, like one of the biggest breakthroughs that I had was the entity attachments and the whole implant level. Um, and it's rapidly evolved since then. Like there's been some multiple breakthroughs that have led to really just being able to understand how the body harmonizes and how to access the mind, the body, and the spirit and put it inside of one place. And that creates a frequency that people can then use. And I show people how to use that. And so when we actually did our work together, it was
Yeah,
pretty much me doing the work for you. You know, it was
yeah,
like me, you know, kind of telling you how to breathe, and but I was doing all of the energy work. And
yeah.
honestly, it's gotten to the point to where it's so much more effective to show you guys how to do it. Because then I work from the outside, you guys work from the inside, and it's so much more effective because A, you get an understanding of how the energy works inside of your body, and B, you actually get a flow in the sensations of good feelings, good energies that a lot of people think that they have, but they actually just don't know how to access. And once you have it, you can move it through your body and even numb places where you don't have flow, where there's no chi activated. It's like moving liquid around a rock, and the rock really sticks out, and then you can go in and clean that out. Those places right there where we're holding on to trauma, density, blockage, that's what entities and implants hook into. And
But
so,
what is the difference then with what you did to me like in 2017 and what it's now? Because I remember, I mean, that was mind blowing because remember, I was
yeah,
like a prisoner in my own body
yeah,
and I've never experienced like anything of freedom whatsoever in my body, which I didn't even know because I didn't know any better, right? So
yeah.
the moment you like released that, it was like, I mean, that was like, well, you remember it
Yeah,
was
it was good. It was good.
it
Well, you
was
know, and that's the thing. Most people are stuck inside of fight or flight and have no idea. You know,
yeah.
it's not just words. It's an emotional trigger that's stuck inside of the body that it literally creates physical tension. It's like the muscles end up with that program of being tight. And if you've ever been to a chiropractor, you know, that's what they're trying to do is make the muscles not so tight so they let go of pulling the bones out of alignment. And that's literally all we're doing is it's a full spectrum mind, body, and spirit. And if we're working on just one of those levels, we can get really effective work done, but nowhere near as effective as if we bring it all together.
So
And
so what is then so what you did at the time with
uh
me was like entity attachments, you got rid of that,
yeah,
and then
well,
what?
here, let me actually explain that a little bit more
Mm.
coherently here. So that trauma layer, that density layer that was holding on to that spot where the entity could, you know, come in and attach onto, that's the space that we go in and clean out now. And so beforehand, what I did with you, it was almost like I saw those things that were feeding on that energy, and I went in there and I pulled it off, and that
Yeah,
gave it enough flow and enough room for, you know, the energy to start moving. But there are still triggers and traumas that are underneath the surface that can come up again if they don't get cleared out with that first initial
yeah.
flow. And so what I do now is I show people how to get into that and start clearing it out from that level. And then these things just fall out. It's like if you don't have anything for them to grab a hold of you, it's like, you know, fistful of air.
Oh, right. So this is also why, like, at a certain point, obviously, because I had this freedom all of a sudden that I
Yeah.
didn't even know how to deal with, right? And my energy expanded. Like, remember when you said like I've never seen anything like it because
Oh
it
yeah,
was
you were one of what I call my button clients. It's like I pressed a couple of buttons and then poof, rocket ship.
yes, but eventually it came back because I was still busy with my healing myself,
Hmm.
and so we had another session, and you know there was still some other stuff to remove. However, what you mean now is that then you can maintain it for yourself,
Yes, that's the
right?
important part. That's the
Well,
important
yeah,
part.
seems to
Yeah.
me as well. And you do it all remotely as well, which is mind blowing because I remember you telling me like take it after the when you remove the attachment and you told me to get a mirror and look at your eyes now. And I was like shocked because my eyes like changed color
Yeah.
completely different. I was like a zombie before that.
Yeah.
Remember?
Oh
And
yeah. Oh yeah. It's really amazing what ends up happening. Like we are so much more than just the simple flesh that we look at when
yeah.
we feel around us. And you know, pretty much the bottom line is that humanity is really kind of stuck inside of the prison of the mind right now.
Yeah.
We don't feel like children. You know, children, like before they start learning how to put their concepts into sounds and words and, you know, communicate on that level, they're broadcasting, they're
Yeah.
feeling brand new things for the very first time. They're experiencing things that nobody has to teach them, like how to, you know, be hungry or be sad or be excited or feel happy. Like these are things we all come hard loaded with. And what ends up happening is nobody else is speaking on that level. And so in order to communicate with the people that you love, who, you know, makes that weird feeling in your tummy go away, that makes you want to eat something that tastes good, you know, like they're the ones that you want to communicate with, but they're not here. So you
Yeah.
have to start putting concepts into sounds. And what that does is it starts dumbing us down. It starts making
So
it so that we're not transmitting the frequency or the feeling, and we're talking about it. And what that does is it makes us describe instead of experience. That's all I do
yes.
is I show people their native language.
So babies actually have this naturally until
Hmm.
obviously, you know, human comes along and they kind of,
Yeah.
you know, screw that
Mhm.
up. But so can you
Yep.
start telling a bit about your background because that's
Oh
quite
yeah.
important and I find it quite impressive as well because, you know, you've got an extensive, you know, experience with that.
Oh, well, you know, it's kind of funny because it seemed like I was only doing one thing at a time, but like when I look back on it, it's like, oh wow, that's actually a pretty extensive list.
Yes.
So I started off in the martial arts world. My mom got me into martial arts when I was like 5 years old because I was just, you know, bouncing off of the walls and I needed something to start calming me down and focusing. And it was really a godsend because it gave me the
Yeah.
ability to feel inside of my body in a way that I have almost like a spatial awareness that a lot of other people don't have. And I didn't realize other people didn't have this until, you know, later on down the line, I started, you know, comparing notes with people. And it's like, oh, so you don't know what that feels like when you flex a specific muscle to get your balance to shift slightly. Okay. You know,
Right, but that's it. Also, the spatial. The
mhm,
I didn't feel space at all. I was
yeah.
just like, you know, like imprisoned at the
Yeah, it
time.
was it
And
was like you were just behind your eyes and you were floating
yeah,
behind. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that's how most people are, you know. We conceptualize everything and then we just think about it. And
all right.
we're separated from the emotions which fuel those crazy thoughts. But by reverse engineering it, we can get rid of the emotion, which, you know, gets rid of the thought, and so on and so forth. So, anyways, so I grew up in the martial arts world, and it was exactly what I needed, you know. And I was not a healthy child. I was pretty honestly dark, you know. I was very angry and upset, and I didn't realize how
Must
much
come with the
ancestral
red
stuff.
hair.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, it comes in, right?
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much ancestral stuff I was carrying with me, and it really led me down a dark path. And
Mm.
I still had a sensation of something, like I understood and I could feel, and I knew there was something more, but I just couldn't put my finger on it. And it was like I was just going along with the stream, and I felt honestly like you know, kind of like I was being just like driven, like I was a puppet, and I was supposed to pay my bills and do my job and, you
Yeah.
know, eventually die. And it
Yes.
just it just broke so much that I started to have to look, and my whole life just it disintegrated, it fell apart. And I ended up having to move in with my mother with my 9-month-old daughter in
Oh wow.
2012, 2013, like right at the beginning of 2013. and I had no money. I had to sell all my stuff to get out of where I was at and wait for the courts to tell me that I could take my daughter and, you know, blah, 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 3D stuff. And
Yeah.
so I had no money when I got here, and I had to get on food stamps and welfare. And it's actually really funny. I'm sitting in front of the house right now where all of this started. Like, it's my mom's house.
Oh,
um,
really?
yeah, but there's construction down the street. Like I said, that's why I'm in the car right now. But I started really recognizing, you know, it was a whole bunch of little tiny awakening points throughout my journey. You know, I had crazy dreams that, you know, they felt very real. I was talking to light beings, and, you know, my forehead
Wow.
would be burning when I would wake up, and it just all kinds of really interesting things that started to push to looking into to physical nature in a more coherent way. Like, you know, I can actually touch it, you know, not just like physically touch it, but like touch it.
Yeah.
And I started going to massage school because one of the first things that I realized is that I needed to feel good, and I didn't. You know, I was very numb all the way up into negative emotions. So I had negative emotions and numbness, and then I, you know, slightly laugh every once in a while, but, you know, not really anything there.
Yeah.
And I
Not
remembered when I was
present.
like, yeah, yeah, you know, exactly.
I've been
Uh,
there.
yeah, well, we all have. That's the
Yeah.
part of the great awakening. We have to experience the numbness so that we can start to come out of it and fix it
True.
and show other people how.
True.
But it led to this whole awakening inside a massage school because I remembered specifically I was helping people out with like this massage technique this lady showed me. And she told me I have really good hands and I should get into massage school when I was older. And I just remembered that. And I remembered the massage technique. And every once in a while, people, oh, my back. And I'd be like, oh, let me help you. You know, and I remembered, you know, more than once, actually, it was just the sensation. Like, it was like their eyes got brighter, the lines got less, you know, tense around their eyes, and just like, oh, thank you. You know, and I was like, oh,
Well,
you're
but you were
welcome.
not conscious that you were actually already actually integrating the energy part, because I was
Completely
masseuse.
unconscious of it.
Oh, right. I was a masseuse as well. I'm very good at it,
Mhm.
but yeah, never thought of that part
Well,
actually.
it actually wasn't until I started doing Reiki in massage school. Like there was just a whole series of things, and like the 9 months I was in massage school, it literally feels like a whole entire lifetime. Like the school right across the street from my house, where this lady's walking by right now, I would do laps around it, and I would carry my crystal in one hand, and I would just start powering through and going into these walking meditations where I would download all this information and Reiki. It was a basis in showing me how to move energy,
Oh,
and it just one thing led to the next, led to the next, led to the next. And it
yeah.
started with this culmination of like I graduated massage school. I got an internship at a chiropractor's office where he was an applied kinesiologist where they muscle test.
Mm,
And it was actually that right there. So at this point in time, we had been putting everything together. I'd been following him around for almost 2 years, trying to, you know, he was showing me all the connections he was using. I was using my physical therapy and massage therapy background, and we were just putting people back together. I mean, people would come
wow.
in just destroyed from car accidents, and we would put them back together within the course of like weeks to just a couple of months. And it was
Wow.
beautiful, but I kept on seeing different levels. It was like if I got the lymphatics to start moving, the muscles usually let go. If the muscles didn't let go after I got the lymphatics moving, then I would have to stretch it out and start getting it to flow. And like it got to the point to where I'm like, I know that it's supposed to be moving, but it's not. What is going on here? And I remember I got really frustrated with it one time. And my Jason, my the guy that I was actually working on in the office, um, he was telling me that he was feeling like a weird tickly sensation. It was like I was trying to get the muscle to let go and it wouldn't let go. And he had this weird tickly sensation in there. And I just move, you know, like I got frustrated with it and I pushed on it and it moved. And then his
No.
whole muscle let go. And I was like, wait, what was that? And
Yeah.
so that was the first breakthrough that I started playing around with. And then the chiropractor I was working with, he would do muscle testing. And like, I thought that was the coolest thing in the world until I saw him actually muscle testing for somebody over in New York. And we're in California right now.
Wow.
And that was the wait a second moment. Like, what? How did this work? And so he tells me, he says, look, Eric, I know the good Lord gave us these gifts and I know that they work and I don't need to know why. I really don't. And I said, that is the most impressive, led by faith thing I have ever heard in my life. I can't do that. I have to know, man. I have to know.
Yes.
And so
Logic,
I started
analytical.
like, yeah, you know, I had to, well, it was before I could integrate with the body. I had to integrate with
Right.
my mind. I had to understand in order to, you know, then think about my perception of what was happening. So
Right.
that right there, that was the big one where I was like, wait a second. So like, there's no limitation to this. Like, we can literally sit down with the universe and have a game of 20 questions. And so for about 6, 7 months or so, I didn't do anything. There was no decision in my life that I didn't make without muscle testing at first. And this is what I call my LiDAR training, because it showed me the resonance of truth and the resonance of false. And it's not like this is right and this is wrong. It's like a universal law. This is what feels wholesome and real. This is what feels hollow and fake. And it's they actually the Jinshin Jiu-Jitsu that they taught me in the massage school, where we balance the energies. They have a very good term for it. It's called Kyo, where it's too much. It's like expansive and it's like about to pop. And then Jitsu, it's like a hollow sensation. And truth feels solid. It's like a sensation where there's a full-blown resonance that you can experience that makes you stronger. It makes you give like the muscle test is more powerful. The muscle doesn't have weakness inside of it. And this
Right.
is where I started thinking about, like we hear about these legends of people in their divine right doing like superhuman, levels of whatever it was. And I was like, divine right, it makes you stronger when you're feeling truth. Wait a second, and so I started playing around with these, and it started leading to the point to where I was downloading information. And the information that I started to download, it was very specific exercises and energetic movements to do inside of my body to start creating activation. And I didn't know what I was pushing for, but it all culminated the night of, I believe it was February 18th or 19th. It was either the 14th, the 18th, or the 19th. I've got it on the calendar. I'd have to look at it. But this was 2014. And so I got into massage school June 2013. And so it was only that short amount of time that everything exploded into this space right here. And in that room, about 70 feet to my right over here, about 9:23 at night, I had the breakthrough that led to everything. So I downloaded how to dissolve my chakra centers, because what was happening is, as I was looking at the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet centers, I was recognizing that visible light's only this big compared to the massive expanse of electromagnetic resonance. And then we're cutting it into 7 pieces. And so we're limiting ourselves to such a tiny resonance of vibration by being inside of color, that I started going through these exercises where I was making my chakra centers more malleable. I was changing them into every color. I was making them clear. And the night when it all culminated, God, I still remember this plain as day. It was literally like my body started floating. Like I had these colored energy centers that lifted me up, and I was like in the air. And I don't think I was actually floating, but I was so far disconnected from everything. I might have been, like, but I don't think I was, honestly. But what happened was the feeling of full spectrum light, like the sun. When it's shining, we can take a prism and we can break that sunlight apart, and it makes that whole spectrum.
Right.
But there's something more. We're only seeing the colors right there, but there's so much more broken apart inside of that. And it's all coming from that level of sunlight right there. And so I was like, okay, so we have the whole. And then if I were to take like a piece of this and then twist it off so it was like a little bubble, like a small version of the big piece, that's one of the colors. And so I had all these colors that I was floating on this sun. And then the feeling was like I just untwisted them, like the pulling a balloon and like kind of compartmentalizing that little spot right there away from the rest of the balloon. It was like it untwisted, and then whew, it sank back
But
into the
is it
hole.
then like a knowing or a merely believing? Because I'm like clear conscience, but and so things I just know, right?
Yeah,
But is it in because I know also within the Shaolin
it's
Kung Fu and all that, it's all about believing it,
uh-huh.
and so then you can actually do it. And
So much more than that. It's
really,
a physical transformation that actually happens. It's an energy that is so powerful inside of you that it resonates through you to the point that it shuts down all tension inside of your body, and you explode with energy. It's a physical feeling that you like when it happened for the first time. It was like a 50-foot bubble around me that I could feel everything inside of,
oh, you're chopping up.
settling around inside of the dirt. And it was such an expansive knowing. Uh-oh, am I there?
Yeah, you're back.
Are we there?
Yeah.
Okay. And like now I'm getting excited. It's starting to
Yeah,
mess with me.
I know, because
Like,
you're like so totally ADHD, yeah. And
well, it's expansive, it explodes, and it works on the electromagnetic levels because that's how your nervous system works. And when you're trapped inside of your brain and you fully expand into the body, the resonance of that amperage of the electromagnetic, the biochemical energy, it catches the resonance of the iron in the water in your blood, and that's all electromagnetic conductive elemental flow inside of you. And when that catches, it's a resonance that explodes and you're aware of it. It's like an expansion of your nervous system. I could actually walk you through a couple of exercises if you wanted to feel some of that real quick
well,
inside of
yeah,
you.
because I remember when you did that clearing on me,
Mhm.
and you said I've never seen anything like it, because I had a reach like from 750 kilometers, and
Oh
you
no,
said
it was
like,
big,
yeah, it was so
big
huge.
boom.
Yeah, and I remember you said telling me like you can actually set stuff on fire, and I felt it, and I
Hmm.
knew it was all the time in there. Hence why it also like imploded as an anxiety,
Yeah,
because it couldn't go anywhere, and so
yeah.
it turned into panic attacks and anxiety and all that.
Hmm.
But then that moment when you like released it, it was like, whoa, I could like feel all over the place, and
Yeah.
it was amazing. And I had a dream recently about that, how you can
Oh
actually tap
wow.
into your whole energy, like surroundings, that
Hmm.
is your aura, but more expanded, and that you can actually use those as your sensors, your eyes, your
Hmm.
feeling, your ears, everything. And so and hence how these martial arts also they actually can fight with energy only,
Hmm.
because they use it as like a second body, sort of,
Yeah.
because it
Well,
is.
it's almost like a puppeteering effect. Like you can literally, it's kind of hard for me to do. I don't have much range of motion. Let me see if I can get this on camera real quick here. What I'm going to do is my hands are going to move like this, but the energy sensitives around you who are watching this, they're going to be able to tell that it's being lifted with the energy. I'm not like right here, I'm physically moving it, but you'll probably be able to see a difference. Let me get a little bit
Right.
more room there. What I'm going to do is simply move the chi into my hand and then move it out of my hand.
Right.
Now, some of the energy sensitives can definitely feel that right there, but that was nothing more than my own
That's what you do
bioelectric
with
nervous system.
Qigong.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's exactly how it works right there. And Qigong, that's actually one of the big breakthroughs that I had as well. There's a guy named Wang Q Kit. He's the third generation Shaolin Grandmaster who wrote, I believe, about 17 or 18 different books. And I've got like 4 or 5 of them, and 3 of them are about Qigong, 2 of them are about Shaolin Kung Fu. He's got the complete
Oh,
book
I
of
need to
Chinese
have those.
medicine. Like the guy's brilliant. And everything that he put inside of these books, it's very easy to understand because he's a third generation Shaolin Grandmaster, but he was raised here in the United States. He went to university
Right.
here in the United States. So he's really easily able to put those very complex ancient Chinese concepts into words that we can understand. And yeah, that's
Yeah.
another one. I take people through
Well,
that
I
at my
grew up
retreat
with
every
that
year.
because I'm half Indonesian, and
Yeah,
so I know about that Eastern philosophy, and
yeah,
for me, it always attracted me much more than anything Western, because
yeah.
that's so fluff, and
Well, it's ancient. There's bones to it, there's like a
yes,
substance inside of it. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, bring it on.
Let's do it. All right. So we got to have a little bit of an explanation right here so we get some brain understanding so that we can pull it into the body.
Mhm.
So, one of the things that I like to show people how to do is hack emotion back into their body so that they can start telling their body how they want it to feel instead of their body telling them what they have to feel.
Right.
And in order to do this, we got to just kind of understand that an energy and an emotion are completely separate from the thoughts. The energy of the emotion creates the thoughts. And this is why a lot of people have racing minds because they have triggers underneath the surface that are just sitting there screaming at them, but they're numb to it.
Oh, it's
And
not the
so
other way around.
no, it's not. It's the emotions inside that literally create the tension. You can feel it inside of your body, and once you
Yeah.
release it, you physically feel the tension let go, and then there's movement. There's no pain. It's good stuff. So what we do is we have to recognize, like when you feel an emotion, like the negative ones are really easy to pay attention to because, like sadness, that one's really heavy. It's like it's
Yeah.
that choking, heavy, raw feeling in your throat that makes your face go, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
like, and that facial response right there, that's a response to the energy of the sadness. And so when you cry, it's because you're literally responding to the way that that energy feels inside of you. And so that face, that crying, that's a symptom of the energy. Just like anger, you know, it's that burning ball in the pit of your stomach. It feels almost like acid that's sitting there spinning and roiling around, and it makes you go, "Urgh," you know, like the
Right.
shoulders come up, the jaw gets tight, you know,
Ugh.
and that's a physical symptom of those too. And those are really easy to find because they're really obvious, you know, they're
Yeah.
explosive emotions. You feel them very clearly. But like, say for instance, laughter. You know, the feeling inside of you that bubbles up inside to turn into that ha 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 ha,
Yeah.
like that
I
right
feel that
there.
here.
Exactly. That's the feeling of the energy of joy, the feeling of the energy of mirth, of happiness. And your laughter, your smile is not the energy. It's the response to it, meaning this right here is a
Yeah.
response to an energy. So if it's a response, we can reverse engineer it back into the energy. And we can't
Right.
do this by talking to the body because the mind, this is all something that we had to learn after we were born. We had to learn how to communicate in English. We didn't come hard loaded with that. So we have to speak the language the body understands. And it's way simpler than people think it is. What I want everybody to do, just put a cheesy grin on your face. And as you inhale, pretend like you're making this spot hot, like you're making a hot smile. And as you breathe in, pull that hot smile into your body. Don't think about it. Make the feeling happen
This is what I already do always.
because it feels good.
Yes. This is why these what you call them, these people that sit in mountains and Tibetans, yeah, they always have this smile
Oh,
because
yeah.
it responds, the body responds
Yes.
to the muscle that comes with the smile
Yes. And
as
vice
well.
versa. You can do both. You can make
Yes.
it, you can make the energy so strong that the body has to react. And at the same time, you can make the reaction so strong that the body has to emote. And
Right.
that's where we start running into places where, like, say, for instance, one of the blockages I run into is where people can't feel the smile. It's like they're pulling in, it's like they're hitting a wall. Well, what you're doing is you're trying to tell your body, I want to feel like this. And it's saying, no problem, no problem. But check this out. This is in the way. And so instead of trying to then release the tension and release the problem that we're running into, it's a cause and effect type thing. And your brain always thinks that just because you do this and you try to make this happen, and then this bad thing always happens because of it. It's where we end up getting in that cycle of every time I try to do something good, all this nasty stuff comes up and I have to deal with it. And in fact, what it's doing is you're cleaning it out. You're opening up the space for that trauma to come purging through, and we feel things that are purging. And so it's actually showing you exactly what's in the way so that you can go in
Right.
and clear it out. But we get stuck inside of it. And this is where a lot of people end up in like the dark night of the soul, where they're trying to make everything so bright and so beautiful, but they're ignoring this darkness that they're carrying around inside of
Yes.
themselves. And that's where we got to go. That's where the secrets are. So here, let's real quick, we're going to do the exhale too, because the exhale is just as important as it is the inhale. So what we're
Right.
doing is we're pulling in the feeling of the smile. And on the exhale, we're going to completely relax and let the air out. And this is the physical sensation. This is what it sounds like right here.
Yeah.
No pushing, no holding, super gentle. But as you exhale, I want you to let anything inside of you that's tense or heavy or it feels angry or sad, let it fall out of your body, almost like the gravity of the earth is trying to pull it down from you. So let's go
Right.
ahead and do like 5 or 6 of these together here. Deep
All
breath
right.
in, pull the smile in, make it nice and hot, and relax, sand draining out of an hourglass.
Yeah.
Last 2, make these even stronger, like you're making the sensations more powerful. Last one.
It's funny because I do this already when I'm like
Uh-huh.
down or I don't feel well. I'm start to smile, but I take it first as a belief in my head that I can feel whatever I want at that moment. So
Yes.
And that's when I start doing that. And then it starts in my face, and then
Hmm.
it spreads to my body, and then
Beautiful.
boom, gone,
Beautiful.
yeah, yeah. Already
Yeah.
it's something that already I've been like doing for quite a while. And
Right on.
yeah,
Right
it's
on.
really powerful because
Hmm.
we can. And I remember also because we create literally our own reality. So if I keep saying, oh my god, this headache, oh my god, it's so bad, the worse it gets.
Hmm.
So then I start breathing in, and then I say, okay, just relax wherever the headache is coming from. Try to breathe in there and just try to let it go. Doesn't always work, especially when it's a hard migraine, but
Yeah.
I'm literally like practicing it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like this is the natural language that all of our bodies speak, and we know how to do these things, which is why it feels so familiar and so natural when we do it. Even if we haven't done it and we're like 60, 70 years old, like it's an automatic hardwired thing. And when you stop trying to force your brain to understand everything and you start going into the feeling of it and you start letting yourself flow into what needs to happen, you'll download this information for yourself. Like, that's how I figured it out. Like, nobody showed
that's
me
that's
how. I had to download it, you know?
that's how it's working for me now as well, with these simple
Yeah.
things. When it comes to attachment, I cannot detect them very well yet, because, well, for whatever reason that is. But well, ever since my clearing, I do feel it, that there is something, a heaviness. I just can't find exactly where it is,
Mhm.
right? So when it comes to like these what you call them, parasites, and
Mhm.
um, what they called, parasite
Implants, entities,
implants.
a parasitic consciousness, something that
Exactly.
likes to steal things.
Exactly, those and that's also starting to give you these loop thoughts,
Yeah.
because they're not yours. and
Yep.
uh, and I learned that only after my clearing with you. That's when I knew, oh my god, all this time I thought those were my thoughts, but they weren't. And ever since I now know the difference, because instantly I knew the difference. Now I know when my mind goes in a loop, I'm like, whoa, stop it,
Yeah.
because that's not mine, that's not my thoughts.
Yeah.
And but many people don't know this, and they really think it's their thoughts.
They
uh,
do.
and which is sad, because I spent like what, 47 years like that, right? Actually
Yeah.
48. And but now, knowing that, I also know that it's not something that is mine, therefore I can also release it. However, it tends to come back like a boomerang as well over time, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so this is where I wanted to ask you, like, how does that work? Because you remove that entity, and
Mhm.
then it tends to come back. Why is that?
Because you haven't gotten into the core trauma wounding around it. Because again, it's like a platform that these things land on, and if they land on it, they can walk around on it. But if we make that platform dissolve, well, there they go. They don't have a place to hold on to or grab onto. However, it's not just inside your physical body, because if we start looking at the genetics and the way that things work on that level, we already understand that epigenetics means that you can pass things down to your children. Deformations in the DNA, diseases, um, positive traits. Like, that's something people don't pay attention to very often, right there. Like, that's
Yeah.
something, yeah, we can pass a lot down through the family lineage. However, say for instance that we have warfare. Warfare is a really good example. We have so much of it in our history. And say for instance that we have an ancestor that lived inside of like a village that everybody was happy-go-lucky, and then all of a sudden here comes people from the outside killing and burning things down. That trauma, that wounding right there, if they're not able to heal from that inside of that lifetime, it's something they start passing down to their children. And
Yeah.
you'll end up with kids who have PTSD around trauma that they never lived through. And this is where it starts getting kind of complicated, because we end up having a predisposition for specific energies, which is why as kids we're for the most part really blank and open and clean. But as we start to grow and get through puberty and the body starts to go through its genetic changes, it's when the programs start turning on. And say for instance that that person was like 15, 16 years old when the village was attacked, and that was their wounded age. Around 15 or 16 is oftentimes when you'll start seeing it coming up inside of the children, and they won't know why they feel that way. It's just, they're just thinking words and thoughts inside their head, just trying to do the best they can. The next thing they know, or for no reason,
Yeah.
and you don't think about why it's there. You just feel the sensation and you allow yourself to go with it for the most part. And this is where we have a predisposition for a specific energy that then starts to come through from the genetics, and it's like they run into each other. And you create an echo of what your parents have created themselves. And it'll be one
So
of
is
two
that
ways.
within the DNA, like
Yeah.
set within the DNA that you
Yep.
then inherit from your parents? And yeah, okay.
Yeah. And so it's like a predisposition inside of the DNA, which you can change. You can totally fix these things, which is honestly why a lot of us are even here in these genetics,
Yes, yes,
But and the whole thing happens to where you have like very specific core trauma woundings. And say, for instance, that there's like 4 or 5 of them in the genetic lineage. You can go in and clean out your triggers all you want. You can go in and when they are triggered, clean it out so that it flushes through as much as you can. But unless you actually take that opening and start going back up your genetic field, it's going to keep filtering through, because it's almost like you have the weight of all of your ancestors pressing down on you,
mhm,
and you're the only one who's alive here. Well, you and the rest of your family who's alive right now, but compared to the billions of people before you who are dead, it's a small, small, tiny amount.
yeah,
And all of their trauma, all of their problems are trying to squeeze its way down into right now, because as we're moving through, heavy things drop and it's above us, so it's dropping down into us. And as
right,
you start to release, as you start to let go and find that clean space, you have all this pressure pushing down, and it just kind of slowly fills that clean space again. Got to clean it out,
right.
clean it out, clean it out, slowly fills the space
Yes,
again. And so you got to go all the way back into the genetic woundings, into the mother's line, into the father's line, and really kind of sit with those spaces. And it's kind of fun because you'll start finding out reasons why like you feel the way that you do or you think the way that you do, and you'll see a lot
yes,
of these different connections inside of it. And from the outside it's a lot easier to pay attention to what's going on than things that you're numb to on the inside. And so
yeah,
if you start seeing, you know a grief trauma wounding inside of the core genetics, but you don't feel grief, you
mm,
feel irritation and impatience and anger, and that core trauma wounding of the grief is probably the linchpin of everything that you are feeling that you've been trying to clear out, but there's something
right.
under that. And this is where we start getting into recognizing that we are so much more than just these little tiny human bodies, because we can go anywhere. Past life connections, it's the same thing with
Yes.
the ancestral levels. You got to go into those and start fixing the lessons that your genetics brought to you, because that's why you even had the predisposition to be able to come into these genetics to begin with. You were
Yeah.
carrying that trauma.
And this has been proven as well with people with past life that, for example, phobias that they can't,
Yep.
explain, afraid of water, and then it turns out in a previous life they were drowned and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and it's been tested over and over again.
Yeah.
I read books about this man that did the studies on it. It was amazing how deep all these things are, and I've done
Hmm.
the theta healing, which you get to release
Yeah.
lots of these as well past life, but also that family lineage stuff. And but yeah, I didn't find it easy because you want to again analyze everything, like what then how, like
Yeah.
that's the first thing you want to do. And yeah, so I tend to be very analytical in that sense and try to just let go and say, it is what it is. But then I tend to come back because obviously something is not solved yet. And then I'm like, you see, probably I didn't understand it well yet. And so that's what you get, right? Because
Yeah.
your rational mind is starting to explain away why it's still not solved,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And that's not an easy one to overcome, because you need to trust and believe and know that it's possible,
Yeah.
to release.
Oh
So the
yeah.
thing with I'm now like 51, and I'm saying, like, I always have this challenge, like trying to keep my telomeres as large as I can, because when you get older, the telomeres of your DNA, they
Just grow
start,
more.
yeah, they start like, becoming shorter, and so then you age. And I'm like, hell no, not gonna do that. I'm gonna just keep on working on my telomeres, and stay young. So who needs plastic surgery if you don't, if you can? But it's just a test for
Yeah.
me, right? And just to see if it
Yeah.
works. And hell yeah, does it work, because I look younger now than I was 40. Is
Isn't it
amazing.
great? Oh no,
Yeah.
it's totally something that you can start really playing around with, and really seeing how everything connects in together.
Well, this
I've
is
done
how
so much.
you prove for yourself as
Oh
well that
yeah.
it's possible with easy things, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you just think about training, like every exercise you do it with your mind, literally you get out of bed next day with muscle pain, because
Mhm.
it still works out.
Oh yeah. Well, this is actually one of the ways that I keep my body in shape.
Me
I don't
too.
work out anywhere near as much as I look like I do. Um, and I do work out. I'm trying to make a regiment every day. I'm trying to get a routine going right now, so that I'm backing it up on the physical too, because I really haven't done much physical stuff in the past, maybe about 2, 3 months or so, and I'm starting to, feel sluggish energetically because of it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get a physical routine going with that, but I mean, I don't look like I feel sluggish.
Well, but it's obviously you still, the whole movement of sports.
Yep.
You need to get that energy moving, right?
Yes.
Which you don't really do when you do the passive training kind of
Hmm.
thing. And that
Yeah.
I've noticed as well, because then you notice that your energy field is starting to get more dense,
Hmm.
on top of you. So yeah, I know what you mean. But I don't feel like, I've been like spending months like behind my computer, and but yet I don't feel like, I've been like,
Yeah.
yeah, sluggish, but not like
It,
over.
well, and let me rephrase that. It's not like sluggish. It's like not as fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's not sluggish. I mean, I feel really, really good no matter what. Just with the energy, without even moving my body. But like when you start bringing it all in together, mind, body, and spirit. And honestly, it's more body, 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 mind, spirit than anything. Like the more
Yes.
attention that we can bring into our nervous system, and then utilize our brain as an accessory to our nervous system, that's how we start really opening up these doors into spirit and start getting all the information that we need, especially right now, because I mean, come on, it's crazy. we
Yes.
need we need to we need to start finding that foundation, that
Right.
stability and that gentleness right now, because other people need it too. Like they're
Yeah.
not able to create it right now. Those of us tapping in on these levels can, and so it's kind of a responsibility of us to really be a rock in the storm right now, because it's gonna get a bit crazier
Oh yeah. Well,
until
I
it's
have to
not.
say that, like, after your session, it triggered so much for me to start working on things, and
Yeah.
and being more in tune with it, and become more and more, sensitive to energies. And now I don't even have to look at somebody; I can just chat and already see
Yeah.
freaking who they are. Are they honest people? Are they okay?
I see you.
Right, right. And it's
Yep.
actually quite scary, because if I would tell them what I see, it would freak them out,
Yeah.
and because I know that there is just this knowing,
Yeah.
like, I know exactly what you're up to. You can have this smile and all that, but I know what's going on there,
Yeah.
and it's the weirdest thing, because it actually throws me off sometimes, that I'm like, holy crap, like, and now I want to
Oh,
ask to come to get it
yes.
confirmed, but actually
Yes.
I know that I don't need to confirm, because I just know,
Mhm.
right? It's the weirdest thing ever.
Well,
However,
it's the disillusion of the false light. You can put up all the pretty fronts you want, but I see you.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
You
well,
know?
definitely. And so how do you do that with, when it comes to these entities, parasites, attachments, and implants?
With walking around in the world and recognizing everything that's going on and not being able to do it because, people aren't
Right.
ready for it. So what I do personally is I shine like a sun.
Yeah,
I
I
get
do.
so bright that I have so much joy, gratitude, forgiveness, love, health, healthiness, and happiness inside of me that it radiates outside of me. And
Yes.
what happens when we turn on a light in a dark room? It has no choice. And it's the ultimate shielding tool, but I'm not doing it to shield myself or separate or, create a barrier or protect myself. Like I'm not
Oh, you don't? Oh, you're cut
I
off.
feel really sorry for them, and what I do now is I show them how to access their field. Uh-oh,
No, you're
can you
back.
hear me?
Yeah, you have a
Okay.
delay clearly. But okay, so is it because I noticed this as well, that because I now know how far my energy reaches, and whatever comes near to that, I immediately spot kind of
Yeah,
things. I cannot name them. I don't know what it is.
yeah.
Is it entities? Is it their own way of being? I don't know. However, I do spot it. So how do you distinguish one from the other?
Oh, well, you just radiate. You become so bright that if anything touches you, you don't fight it. You sit there and you observe it and you watch where it's tying into darkness inside of you, and then you say, "Thanks, buddy. Let me show you what laughter feels like, and here's what light looks like." And they're just
All
like,
right.
"Oh, are you serious? This is what I've been fighting? I'm out." Like,
Oh,
and
so
then
you don't do
yeah,
the protection thingy. You
mm-mm,
don't even need it because,
not at all.
and this is funny because, oh man, everybody's like, oh, protect, protect. And somehow
Uh-oh.
inside, I just know that I don't need that because as soon as it comes to me, I can just, bam, push it away.
Ah.
Exactly. And,
Yeah.
but the same is
Well,
with,
and I go beyond pushing it away. What I do now is, especially if it's attached into somebody like on the surface, I can grab those things and pull those off if I want to, but that's not only is it not my job, that's not my responsibility. And
right.
it's up to people to figure this stuff out for themselves. However, if I see something that is just causing absolute chaos and mayhem, those types of things, what I do is I tune into the food that they're eating. And so, like if it's like a rage or a perversion type of a parasite, like it's all a spectrum. So we have love over here, we have fear over here, and then everything in between. And this isn't good. Or this isn't good. This isn't evil. It's comfortable and uncomfortable. That's all it really is. And so what we can do is go in and create an incredibly uncomfortable frequency and make it so much stronger in front of that entity than it could ever be from inside of the person. And then these things are like sharks. They see food, they eat it, it bit you, it attacked me. Now I have the right to defend myself, and it's time for it to get a first class ticket to the sun.
Right. But but yeah, because it's always free will, right? You're
Mhm.
never going to help somebody without them giving permission.
Yeah.
And so, but you found a way around that by actually getting the food or whatever
Yeah.
it is
I
around
invoke
them.
my right of self-defense. If it bit me, then it attacked me. And that spot where it bit me, I can now go through into its system because it's the law of free will now. It's
Wow.
it's gone beyond that space to where it has now personally gone into my field without my permission. And now I have the opportunity to go into its field without permission. But what I'm not going to do is fight it like it's trying to do for me. I'm going to go in with love. I'm going to go in with harmony. I'm going to go in with the feeling of laughter to show it what it feels like because it's ignorant to it. It has no idea it even exists. And as soon as they
Oh,
feel it, it's just this mind-blowing experience for them. And it's incredibly
right.
cathartic, it's incredibly healing, and it's how we're going to fix this problem. We can't keep separating. That's how it's gotten into light and dark, and now they're fighting with each other.
But I still have a bit of a problem with the belief system of the remote part, right? And I
Mhm,
know it's because time and space is really irrelevant in this case,
mhm,
but somehow something in my brain says, yeah, but as soon as you do that, obviously it's gonna
mhm.
fail. And so how would you say you can, like pass
Well,
on?
I can't tell you how to do it. I have to show you how to do it because your brain's going to tell you you can't. However, if you feel the sensation, then your body's like, "Well, I felt that. Shut up, brain."
Yeah, well, true, because you did that with me while you're
Mhm.
in the US and I'm here in Europe, right?
Oh
And
no, I'm
I,
talking about showing you how to actually physically touch with energy remotely.
oh, right. Oh gosh, yeah. I,
It's easy. It's not hard. It's not something that you have to be attuned for. You have a nervous system. You can breathe. You can focus, just like I can.
yeah. So how you do that?
Okay, well, let's. Let's actually try this one there, then. Okay, so what I need you to do is go ahead and close your eyes, and your right hand is going to be the focal point. And what you're going to do is you're going to pull that smile energy all the way down your arm, right into the hand. And as you exhale, you're going to blossom like a rose out of your hand, and you're going to push that smile towards me.
Okay.
It's not about a brain process. It's about making the sensation happen. Pull that warm smile in
Got it.
and push. See right there. See, did you feel how you just touched me? Yeah,
Yes.
see? Tell your brain to shut up. You can do it.
That's insane. That's insane. It
Yeah.
really works.
Oh, you just moved that through my chest like water right there, didn't you?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. It would, oh my gosh, because I know I can do that like close to people. I can
Mhm,
immediately feel where pain is and whatever. I don't even
mhm.
know how, but it's just start
And
tingling.
time and
And I'm
space
like,
is negligible. Time and space is nothing. It's fake.
wow.
It's holographic. Everything is nothing but spirit, and this is just crystallized matter. That's all this is.
So when
And
you remove that, because I had like one big fat fucker like around me, remember, in my
mhm.
ankles, and it was all over
Yeah, it went all the way up into the back and into the head, didn't it?
and in there,
Yeah,
and every single freaking nerve it was attached. So how
yeah.
do you like do you visualize it like taking it away or just with energy as well?
So what you just did right there, that push, that feeling, that was not your hand, but you could feel it. And it's like
Yeah.
it was almost like a liquid that you created. And so what I would do is I would make a big, gigantic bubble of this energy, like 7, 8 miles wide, and then I would crash it over top of somebody. And as that flows through, what happens is anything that stands out that isn't tingling, that isn't laughing, that isn't bright, it feels like a rock. It's hard, it's dense, it's got anger in it, it's got fear in it, whatever is in there. And then it draws my attention to it because everything else feels good, but this is so obviously not that it sticks out. And that's where I know where to go. And then I start moving stuff around, and it's like a layer falls off, and then I'll see something moving around in there. And then it's like, oh, there's a parasite in there. And then I'll grab a hold of it and be like, hey, guy, no, check this out. Ha ha ha. And then it's up into the sky.
So then what is the difference between a parasite and an implant?
An implant is not conscious. An implant is almost like a crystallized energetic function designed to hold a specific level of trauma open. And so these are the ones that make like the explosive triggers. Like you get reminded of something that happened in the past, and all of a sudden you're just you're sitting there
Right,
dwelling on
like
it
the
for a long time.
PTSD kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And
Okay.
like a parasite, I call the parasites and the entities, they're two different things in my opinion. Parasites need a body in order to survive. And
Yeah.
so they'll go in and they'll act like implants, but they're small things. They're not very big. Entities are self-sustaining. They can hold themselves outside of the body. And so they don't need the shelter of the flesh in order to sustain themselves. And they're the ones that reach out in between people and cause like an etheric entity superhighway, honestly. Like when people are doing black magic at each other, which is literally nothing more than thinking about each other and holding on to nasty emotions,
Mm-hmm.
that's a dense field of energy that you guys are like stabbing each other with, and they can go through those. And
Right.
it's a completely
That's why
different
they
world.
say like what you put out comes back to you, because at the
Yes.
end of the day, the fact that you're still with your energy and your thought there,
Hmm.
that's why it comes back to you in the first place, because at the end of the day, it's your energy that is attaching to whoever you send it to, right?
Hmm. And you can push it out as far as you want. It still leads right back to you. It's
Exactly.
yours.
Oh my God, I never thought of that thing, that concept, because that's true. And this is why they say, like, whatever you put out, you get back.
Yeah. No, that's exactly how it works. Like
Oh my
that's totally the
gosh.
thing.
I never thought of that. So then, how about like the one that I had like externally and
Mhm.
then went internally as well? Because that is then what?
So that was more along the lines of meridian infestation. So what was happening with that one, as I'm tuning back into that, the liver in particular is the one that's drawing my attention. So it was like the liver and the gallbladder meridians, and the gallbladder starts right here and it goes back through the temple, does this weird thing all the way down the side, and the liver one, it starts right ends near the chest, like right below the nipple level. But what ended up happening is that felt like it was clogging up the muscles. It was like it was pulling the rib cage and the pelvis closer together, and that was pinching off the flow through the intestines and the kidneys, which then blocked that whole entire flow going down. Now, the emotions around that, irritation, impatience, anger, and then fear, but not like an adrenaline flash, but like a deep dread type of a fear. And
Yes.
so what it did is it worked on all three of these levels right here. And where there was density going through the body, where the meridian blockage was not moving chi, where it wasn't moving flow through the organ, that was all clogged up emotion. And so what it was doing was pretty much being on the outside, like, hey, I'm going to trigger this emotion right here. There goes the thought. She's going to make that energy stronger. There we go. I'm in. And so it
Yes.
would start, getting
It was
into piece
pure
by piece.
terror.
And
I
yeah,
was living like for 47 years, like in pure terror.
yeah,
And
no, it was nasty. It was bad.
yeah, that was a real nasty one. And then it was also blocking my
hmm Third
chakras
eye
here.
flow, getting everything to be able. Well, this is why you're able to tell stuff now, because there was blockage in the way, and now that you
Yeah,
have flow through it, it's like water going through dirt. And even if you do have blockage start trying to show up right there, the water is going to go around it, and it's going to clean it out anyway, because that's what water does.
right. Oh, wow. That is because now that, yeah, now that you explain it all, to me, it's so much more, it makes so much more sense now that obviously I've developed as well
Well,
in,
I didn't understand when we did that work the last time. It was I've
oh,
had to
you didn't
develop
either.
myself. No, I was just pulling stuff off of people. Like, that's all I was doing. I'd be like, shiny and bright. Oh, that thing's dark. Let's throw that in the sun. And that's all I was
Yeah.
doing. And I mean, it was effective. It made you feel really good, and it definitely it was needed, but. It's evolved so much more now, and I understand why things happen. I understand how come we can go into these spaces and then they'll come back later on because we have to go further out and so on and so forth. But
Yeah.
I've literally got the whole entire blueprint to get into like the full-blown light body, which is beyond the doorway of death, and there's a lot of stuff
Yeah,
around
I
that.
saw,
But
well, there was little afterwards that you had this presentation, I think at an event, and you had this drawing and how it worked, how that whole energy, flow worked, and how
yeah,
that was, and it was so brilliant because when I saw that, because I always kept thinking about it, what you did, and I
yeah,
kept trying to figure out because that's how it works. And then when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, that's it. Right. And it's funny because now we're both at the same point where we understand it. You're
yeah.
just like more skilled at actually doing it because I haven't,
I've just got more practice. That's it.
true.
I've worked with like 10,000 plus clients, like I
Yeah.
have to be good by just that amount of practice and that amount of time dedicated to it, like
Yeah.
you,
Plus you
you can't
have,
put that much time without mastering something or at least being really, really good at it. And
yeah.
like, that's it.
But
Anybody can
you,
do this.
you also have an extensive knowledge about the meridians, about the whole body
Mhm.
in itself, because obviously, that's
Massage
what.
therapy.
Yeah, but that's quite essential because
Yeah.
if you don't have that knowledge, then maybe you don't even know where to look at
Yeah.
specifically, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, and then you don't have a concept to base the energy inside of, and
exactly.
like a lot of people just have such little body sensitivity that, like right now as I sit, I feel the weight of my flesh hanging off of my bones. I feel the way that the bones are hooked together with the cartilage. I can feel the blood pulsing through my body. I can feel bioelectric pulses as my brain is feeling these sensations right now. Most people are just looking out behind their eyes and they
Yeah,
have no understanding of that. And they can feel, slight pressure and sensation in their
yeah.
skin
Or pains.
or pain. Yeah, no, pain's a really good one to, like that shuts everything else off.
Yeah.
And, it's simply an awareness, and the more that you use it, the stronger it gets. And so I can't leave this awareness. It's like I'm always inside of it, and I can't operate on just a brain level. I can't just think in
No.
words. I feel in concepts that I translate into words, which is what I truly believe is our native language. It's what I'm
Right.
trying to find the Rosetta Stone for our human native language, so that we can fully transmit a PhD thesis worth of information is one feeling, is one sensation, and then the other person
Right.
might even have to take years to turn that into English, to decode it into English. So
Yes.
it's I don't know what's
So
going to happen. I don't know
how
where
much
we're at.
do you
I don't
do
know.
you think, like, because I've been doing also detoxes and stuff, and I've noticed that that was essential, especially when it comes to mucus plaque, you know.
Ah,
I mean that
that's the kicker.
That one is the worst
Mhm.
you get, because it literally affects the whole body, every
The whole thing.
disease possible.
Hmm.
And when I discovered that, and that's when I actually want to go into you with you in that, like, privately, about the vagus nerve, because I think I discovered something interesting there. However, when I did that detox, I could breathe again. Food is absorbed again the way
Hmm.
it's supposed to be, but also all the medication that they gave me, at the end of the day, why did I need more and more and more? Because of the
Getting
mucoid
absorbed
plaque
in
was
by the
actually.
mucoid plaque. Yeah.
Exactly. And then when I did the detox, I got like an overdose all of a sudden, because obviously now my body was actually making these brain hormones by itself again,
Yeah.
which, are transported. But on top of that, I had the medication. So I finally started tapering off. I'm now at my last quarter with the antidepressants, which is the most dangerous part in a sense. But because,
Yeah.
it was my eighth attempt. And yeah, that last bit I'm a bit scared of, but I mean, it doesn't matter how, but I'm going to get off it. It's
Yeah.
simple as that. And but yeah, I do believe now. I know we don't need any of all that. You know,
Mm-mm.
and
We
it's
don't. We really
but
don't.
but it is essential next to your energetic, well-being, and your mindset, and all that. It's, I
Yeah.
think, where everybody should start is with a detox to begin with,
Yeah.
in order to start feeling and
Well, and
getting.
especially a mucoid plaque detox. That's some insidious stuff. Like people just don't realize how messed up your gut can get and just literally get stuck there. It's like rubber inside of your intestinal tract.
Yes, yes, I actually haven't gained weight ever since.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. It's like
amazing.
impossible to, your intestines work like they did when you were a kid, when you could eat
Exactly.
everything that you wanted and it just went right through.
Exactly. But now, even if I do eat crap, I just do a little
You still burn it.
detox, and it's done, but
Yeah.
I do not. And this is why now I know diets are bullshit,
Yeah.
because it's not the diet that actually makes you thinner. It's not whatever disease that makes you big and all that. It's actually the mucoid plaque that blocks everything,
Yeah.
literally. And
Well,
yeah, it was mind blowing for me, and this is why I made videos about it, right? So when it comes to then on top of it, all these traumas that you were talking about, and the parasites and all that, like energetic ones. So how do because people just don't know they have it until,
mm,
I don't know, they bump into it, right?
yeah.
And probably you bump into it because you're ready for it, right? That's how it
Yeah.
works.
No, it's the same thing. Energy, mucoid plaque, it's all the same thing. You'll bump into how to take care of it when you're ready for it.
Right, that's true. And so, do you, because I remember at the time when I also discovered that I was like a walk-in, because there was this, I couldn't remember the first 7 years of my life, remember? And
Mhm.
you said to me, well, no, because you've been literally like pushed on the earth. And when you said it, it was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense, because it's exactly how I feel. And
Yeah.
now I'm working more with that, and now I reconciled with it, and it's fine, and now I found my mission, and now, well, it took 50 years, but it doesn't matter, because the whole 50 years was necessary,
Well,
right?
yeah, you had to have your failures to teach you how not to do it wrong again, right?
Exactly. God, yeah, it's not an easy one, right?
No,
But
no, it's not.
honestly, I have to say, I don't envy people that actually like are born and nothing goes wrong really in their lives.
Yeah,
But at the same time, you don't learn how to, get the best optimal self
yeah,
of yourself. And
yeah.
and this is why I'm very grateful for all the traumas and anything that
Mhm.
you can imagine were in my life. And it doesn't matter how long, because it's the end goal that matters. And
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, because that's essential, right?
yeah. Well, it truly is the end goal, and when we stop trying to dictate what that end goal looks like, and we allow ourselves to say, "Okay, well, I'm on a journey." It
Yes.
allows you to sink into the journey, to stay fully inside of that space. Like I said, that 9 months I was in massage school, it felt like an entire lifetime. Like I learned so much. I did so much inside of just that 9 months right there. And it was truly like a magical. It was magical. Like it was a magical exploration of soul that I was going on during that whole entire experience. And when we fully allow ourselves to integrate into whatever it is that we're trying to make more of, you know, that right there is the simple act of being present, the simple act of being in the moment. That simple act starts to create magic. It creates ripples, it creates effects that start to move out into the world around us. And we see it change, we see it shift, and we see how our behavior and our resonance and the way that we're acting and thinking and feeling inside of this new energy starts to change the reality around us at large. You know, it's like all
Right.
of a sudden people are talking to you with the light inside of them instead of the darkness.
So how do you deal with these human resonance that are out of the roof? Obviously, you deal with it perfectly, but you know,
No,
uh,
no, I have my moments too. I'm human just like everybody
well,
else.
yeah, but I mean, so do you have that all the I have this like this steam train, like in a steam train that has to start and it goes like that's what I feel
Uh-oh.
constantly, the heat coming out of my body like a steam train.
Like
Do
like
you have that
the
too?
yeah. Well, a lot of people are a lot of people are connected directly into these resonances right now. Like our sun is waking up in a way, like all the cycles we've ever followed say that it's supposed to be in a grand solar minimum right now, but we're getting more sunspot activity than we've ever been, you know, used to. I think we hit a KP6 for the first time ever that I've seen last month, and I think it was even a KP7.
Oh,
But the
yesterday it
sun,
was out of the roof.
oh yeah,
Yesterday.
yeah. In these things right here, without that struggle, without that adversity, there is no growth. You can grow inside of pain more than you ever could inside of joy and comfort, just like we were talking about. And this is what it really feels like. It's like the sun is starting to, hey, you guys ready? Hey, hey, hey.
Yeah, yes.
You know,
I
and
don't
it's
need
like,
my
are you paying
heater
attention?
anymore. I don't even need my heater anymore because it's like, and
Yeah,
I wake up in the middle of the night with this blast of like steam is coming out of me. It's
yeah. Well, you
it,
know, and the earth, it's directly connected to it. And the Schumann, it doesn't change tone, it doesn't change frequency. It's like if the earth is a drum, if we bang the drum, it's all the same tone. However, we can bang that drum harder, we can hit it harder, we can make that amplitude grow even more. And that's what we're seeing. It's like the pulse of the earth is catching resonance with the sun. And just like when we pluck a guitar string, all the other ones next to it vibrate too, even if we didn't touch them. That's what's starting to happen. And the Schumann is directly, you know, kind of catching that and picking it up and it's bouncing it back. And we're getting these waves that honestly, I don't think it's like waves coming to us. I think we're feedback looping it in a toroid through the sun and we're just feeling the wave as it comes through, but we can't feel the whole thing. We're only feeling where we're at inside of that one point of it.
yeah, because it comes in waves for me
Hmm.
at least. And I've noticed also I need to drink a lot of water because
Lots of
I get
water.
dehydrated. My cats too, they
Yeah.
drink like crazy. And well, the ear thing is gone now, but I have
Oh,
this.
good.
Yeah, I well, it comes, it goes, but lately I didn't have it that much. But
Hmm.
but the ears and the vision, blurry vision is another weird thing,
Hmm.
you know. And so how do you deal with that and your kids? Because you were talking about that, how your kids, are obviously evolving with you and all your knowledge.
Well, we just be human, you
Oh
know,
yeah,
like we recognize that, yeah, there's some things that are going on that we don't enjoy, but if we're focusing on the problem instead of the solution, we're building the problem up.
right.
And a lot of these things, it's all about, you know, what is the transmutive agent inside of this? And so, like, if we're coming across an energy that feels very heavy or metallic or hard, like it doesn't want to move, like, well, if we had something heavy and hard and metallic physically, if we wanted to make it change shape, we'd have to heat it up and make it so it was like molten metal, you know? So
Right.
I'd bring in heat and I'd start moving it around like that. If it was like an acid, we'll bring in a base, you know, like a negative 4 pH and and a positive 4 pH. When you put them together, it neutralizes into a zero. There's no acid, no base inside of that. It's a neutral agent, you know. And
Right.
so, like, that's kind of where we want to be working with it. You know, if it's frozen and desolate, we want to bring life and heat to it. You know, if it's If it's ungrounded and it's floating and it feels disconnected, we want to make a solid line of connection to it so it has flow.
Right.
You know, it's like, what's the problem? How do we make a solution? And I don't try things more than like 2 or 3 times. If it doesn't work the first 2 or 3 times, if I don't feel any movement whatsoever, I'm not going to be the fly on the window. I'm going to, you
Right.
know,
Right.
go around. I'm going to phase through it. I'm going to jump really high. I'm going to teleport. You know, I'm going to do whatever I need to figure out the solution. And I'm always shifting, always malleable. And if there's something in the way that it's telling me no, I'm going to figure out what the yes is.
Yeah. Let me do the super chat here. Thank you, Sudabok, for your super chat, and Christina Love, and Tyler Kiwala from Journey to Truth, your friends.
Yeah.
And
Hi, guys.
hey, Bill, good to see you too. And here's another one. So uh, if you if people have pain, what would you recommend them to do, the way that you deal with it energetically or whatever you do?
Well, there's a few things that we got to understand to begin with here. The first one is that the body, most tension patterns are trying to pull you into a fetal position. So, like if this is the body and that you're facing this direction, it's like the body's trying to get pulled like this, like it's trying to crunch you over. And it's nothing more than muscle tension. You've got your
Mhm.
muscles on the front side of the neck, you've got the muscles of the pecs, the abdomen, the thighs. All of these things are trying to pull you forward. Everything on the backside seizing up and locking it so that you can't go forward. And it's like you're fighting that back right there. And then everything on the backside starts to hurt.
Yeah.
And this is where most chronic tension pain is. It's the shoulders, the neck, the back. If we
Yep.
simply extend ourselves out, if we open up our arms, if we look straight up, if we extend our abdomens out and we get a really good stretch going backwards in the other direction while we're pulling that smile into all of those tight muscles, often that gets the pain to go away. Like if it's at a 10, that almost 100% of the time will drop it to at least a 4. And from
So
there,
then,
you can just start moving it, get it to stretch, get it to relax, get the muscle memory to start understanding that you don't want it to feel whatever emotions in there that's making it tight, and feel the relaxation.
so do you like push it out?
No, I don't fight anything because like if you try to separate, if you're pushing, what's happening is you're trying to say this right here, it's not good enough to stay inside of here. And so I don't do that. What I do is I transmute. And so if there's something that's painful, I'm trying to figure out the core reason why it's painful. And once you go in and transmute that, it's like the whole foundation that everything builds itself on. If that flushes out, all of it collapses, including the physical pain.
Wow. So is that for every pain?
Not every pain.
Well,
Most chronic pains. If you
right,
have like an old injury or something like that that's been aching for a long time, that's usually what's going on with that. But like cancers or like direct injuries or things like that, you can mitigate the pain, but you can't make it go away completely because there's something physically wrong there that's radiating pain. You can
right.
heal it way faster. You can make it rejuvenate and heal itself much faster than you could without the energy and the movement and the body language understanding. But there's still something in the way, and you've got to get that to move.
Right, because I do believe that we can eventually, even repair our own bodies in that sense.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't matter whether it's a broken bone or,
Nope.
and
Well, this hand right here, I broke this about 3 weeks ago, and within a week, I was massaging it and doing push-ups on it.
whoa, well, yeah, pure here, right? And
Mhm.
energy.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's easy once you know how to do it. Bone marrow, like bone marrow has stem cells, it has platelet-rich plasma, it's got all kinds of rich red blood cells, and this is what regrows everything. This is what brings out the toxicities of things that are damaged and broken that need to get replaced. And if you go in there and you activate those levels, if you feel the blood flowing and moving and shifting through the marrow, you're literally telling your body, I want this to heal right here. And like I've got a little bit of soreness right here,
uh-huh.
but that's it. And I mean, my hand, it puffed up. It was like that fat, and I had black, and like it was all inside of the knuckles, and that was just
But for
3 weeks
that,
ago.
you do need this knowledge of
Yes.
of the body,
Yeah.
and that is well, for me as well, lacking because I wouldn't have known, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so then because then you're like, well, what am I working with exactly, right? But can you do that
Yeah.
to with others? Is that also how you help others
Do
like
what?
heal their injuries, for example?
Mhm. Yeah, so everything that I do inside of my body, I can do outside of my body. And so I
Right.
use myself almost like a testing ground to, can I do
Yeah,
this?
yeah,
Can I
yeah.
do that? And then it's the same thing. You build up the energy and you push it out and you touch just like you did earlier, and then you do the work for them.
Right. Oh,
It's
okay.
like it's
And
like instead of you doing the breath work inside of you, you're doing the breath work on the outside of you for them inside
yeah,
of their body.
which you then could do as well remotely
Yep.
again. Oh, wow, that's interesting. I need to learn more about the body because really I need to do that too. And
Yeah.
also, I love it. I love a challenge, right? Like
Yeah.
with the telekinesis as well, same thing, right? And
So I've been trying to pull dollar bills over, and I can do it from about 6 feet away, but I'm still not convinced I'm not creating a vacuum of the wind when I do it. So
no,
like,
because it's not, it's like, okay, so I've done it already.
mhm,
Well, not with the dollar. I've done the spinning thing, and
mhm.
but then as soon as I see it spinning, it's like, oh, it spins, and then stops,
And
obviously,
then you lose
because
it. Yeah.
yeah, because it's your belief system
Yeah.
that you're so excited about it that says, oh, wait a minute, now I'm going to stop with it because clearly you're way too excited, and
Yeah.
it means that you do not believe that is actually possible. But yeah, right, because that's how it
Yeah, that's
works.
exactly how it works.
Yeah, it's amazing how things are. I find it so fun to just practice with it, because if I can do that, which is easy because you can see what you do, right, with your
Mhm.
own uh energy and belief system. So if you can do that, you can do anything, really,
Anything.
right?
Literally anything. Like your imagination's the only thing that gets in the way. Can I do this or can I not do this? Well, try it out. And the worst thing that's going to happen is it's not going to work. At least you know now what not to do.
Right, but that's the same that people say, oh, I need my crystal, I need my meditation.
Mm-mm,
Actually, you don't. You really don't.
you
it's
don't.
it's it's maybe a good thing to, and I always knew this, but it's a good thing to start with, because it builds confidence, it builds
Mhm.
kind of a talisman kind of thing.
Well,
And
and sensitivity to the energy too.
well, is it
Yeah, it gives you sensitivity to the energy so that when you do it without your talisman or your device, you're still feeling that energy that you're building up. There's multiple layers of magic, and the first layer is ritualistic magic, where you need like your wand and your altar and your things on the outside, and really that's nothing more than just an excuse to get you to feel the vibration and the frequency of ceremony. And
well,
once
yeah.
you can feel that, then you can do that without the tools. And then the real magic is when you do it just by feeling it. It's like instead of having to move the energy on the outside, it shifts like that. I'm not at the third level yet. I'm still at the second level. I don't need to
Yeah,
have tools or anything. I am the tool, but there's multiple levels to it, and it's a lot of fun trying to figure it all out. Honestly,
exactly, right? I play with
yeah,
it all the time, but I know that some people that say, oh no, because I have to do this certain breathing, I have to do this certain meditation, otherwise it won't work. Well, obviously it won't work because that's what you put in your mind as a belief system, right?
yeah. Well, and it's not about going through steps. It's not about trying to check off a list in the process. It's about creating an energy. It's about creating a frequency. It's about creating a
Exactly.
vibrant feeling that then you can move into reality and then watch the effects of it.
Right. But I do believe that because I was like watching some videos about it, that apparently that like telekinesis is not so much about the energy, but more about um, the connection. Well, it's not a mental connection. It's still an energetic connection
Yeah,
that you have with the object.
yeah,
But it's not like you push your own energy towards something really. It's that you command the object to
mm,
do what you want, and which
yep,
is interesting because I always thought it's your energy. So it was like like pushing and doing, right? Until then I was like breathing, I was just looking in it, and it went, and I'm like, holy crap, I didn't do nothing, right? and uh,
yeah,
and that's how I discovered that it's not your energy that you push towards the object. It's you connecting to the energy of the
yeah,
object, and just commanded to do whatever you like,
yeah,
right? It's
yep.
amazing how that works. So
Well,
what
it's
you
all atomic.
yeah,
It's all atomic. You have atoms that are quantumly entangled to the rest of the universe, and if they aren't entangled to the rest of the universe, they're entangled to something that's entangled to something that's entangled to something that's entangled to the rest of the universe.
God, I didn't even think of that one because that's a double split
Uh huh.
experiment.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the same thing. Oh my God, you see, this is why I need the analytical thing, because once you understand it,
Yeah.
it's so much easier. Because when you don't understand, you try everything, and then you're like, what is it?
Yeah.
That works. And so, yeah, it's quite interesting. So, are you at the moment? Do you still giving workshops, and you're in California right now? Are
Oh,
you
actually,
running?
I've got one that I'm doing tomorrow. It's the Foundation Celebration. So I do this workshop called the Foundations Workshop, where I teach people how to access all levels of the mind, body, and spirit on the foundations level, and then we do the energy work on each other. Just like how I kind of showed you how to touch me right there, we do
Right.
the work with each other. And so this is actually, it's a limited class because I think 12 people. Yeah, it was 12 people that we could have at the most, because we'd work on each individual person. It was like a 5 or a 6 hour workshop. Like, it was getting, kind of crazy. So this one right here, we're not going to do the individual work. We're going to do group work, and then we're going to do individual coaching if it's needed. But this is how to get in. This is how to
Wow.
start really accessing these levels on a fundamental way and start using reality.
So are you giving workshops like all over the US, or
Oh no, these are online right now. The only one that I physically do right now, unless it's an actual event or a conference that I'm speaking at, is the Golden Frequency Immersion Retreat, and that happens every summer in McLeod, Mount Shasta, California.
what month?
This one, it's going to be in July.
Yee! I'm going to be in July in the US.
Oh yeah, you should
Well,
come.
well, that's the plan, and I want to go to Iseti, so I'm gonna, visit James, and all these people, and then I'm
I
gonna,
still haven't been to ESETI. I need to go out there. Like, I love James.
well, go there in July. Then we're gonna meet, and then I'm coming with you. Do that thingy there,
Okay.
because I'm here in July. I'm gonna be a whole month. Well, that's the idea, right?
Mhm.
I want to be a whole month in the US for the first time. So, and visit all my patriots. That's gonna
Right
be fun.
on. Right
Yeah,
on. Oh,
yeah.
definitely. Where are you at right now?
Holland, Amsterdam.
Holland. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're coming across from. Okay, that's going to be fun. That's going to
Yeah.
definitely be fun.
Oh wow, that's so cool. So people can just book workshops with you because you
Uh-huh.
give them what, every month, or
Yeah, I do at least once a month. I think the next one I have coming up is the mycelium coaching frequency. We did a frequency exploration last year where we went after different levels of frequency and energy that we can access and harness inside of the body. And the mycelium, the white fuzz that creates the mushrooms and the fungi, that is actually one of the most cleansing, powerfully organic frequencies I've ever come into contact with. And I absolutely love that one, and that's another workshop that we're going to be doing. So if people wanted to go that one, I'd actually recommend going to the foundations one before, so that you understand how we move the energy on these levels, so that you
right,
can start shifting that frequency into the mycelium levels. But it's so much fun. It
yeah,
really is, because you can not only start feeling these frequencies and these sensations inside of you, and find places you've been looking for to clean out and fix, and all
yeah.
these different levels inside of the body, but you actually start to go out and connect into the reality at large. And this
Wow,
is where the magic happens. This is where we start actively connecting into the people around us, and the collective consciousness around us, and start shifting reality, because you are a universe. You are in your own right able to shift and move anything that you want to. But right now the problem is that everybody else is doing the same thing. We all agree that it's solid and it's not magic, and so you
yeah.
can feel it, and you can't see it, but you can feel it. You can make it happen. Enough of us do this to where we feel this and we shift and keep moving things. Eventually, we're going to see it. That's when magic breaks through into the world, because it's finally strong enough and the collective has no choice but to agree.
Well, that's why it's nice also to work in groups, because then
Yeah.
you get to experience it together, and then it
Yeah.
motivates as well for other people. So
Hmm.
people can just book like a workshop, but they can also, if people have like pains or parasitic or implants or whatever, they can just go to your website, which I, by the way, put in the description, and it's
Oh,
already
thank you.
shared in the chats I see, and also check out his YouTube, because he does give a lot of tips and tricks and everything, how to get your energy flowing, right, in your videos.
Yes, I do. That's what I'm here for. It's magic, and that's all
Yeah.
there is to it. And it's our birthright, and I'm just a messenger. I'm just a gateway of this frequency, and I shine it as strong as I can. So I give other people a foothold. That way they can feel it too, and then they can make their own, because it's not me, it's all of us.
Well, for me, I can just definitely say that your session with me was the trigger to actually, skyrocket into healing completely. Because for the first time, I actually could feel things, and I was present, and I was out of my prison body, I mean, I never sat still after that. I just kept going and going after. And yeah,
Absolutely honored. I truly am.
yeah.
Truly, truly am.
Well, I know you helped a lot of people, but I do recommend, like, I don't care, even if you have nothing, he will find something.
That's the thing. Like, I have a bunch of people come in and, like, well, I've been doing this work for so long, and like, I don't really think that I have anything there. And I'm like, okay, well, let's move a couple things around. And then they're like, what is that? It's like, why does that hurt? Why is that stuck? And it's like, well, that's because it was stuck under the surface. You didn't think that you had it, but underneath that floor that you were thought that was nice and clean, that's where it's at. We got to go there.
Oh God, every single time I'm like, oh, I'm done. Oh no, there's still another layer.
Yeah.
There's another layer. It never ends. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's good, because I mean, you have to go slow. You cannot, like, all of a sudden have all, like, be in la la land all of a sudden,
Yeah.
completely happy. And and we do need to learn how to actually, do this ourselves. And but somebody like you, it's great that you have these capabilities to then actually have it triggered for others to learn it for themselves. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that's how it worked for me as well. And your own potential that comes out, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
gosh, who knew, that I had so much potential within me as well to do, and all these things that unleashed out of me, hence why it's called unleashing
Unleashing
humanity.
natural humanity. Yes, ma'am.
Exactly. Exactly. So I definitely, whoever needs help or whatever, I recommend to go to his website, but also check out his videos. Because the Qigong, actually, I did it for a while, but I got a bit impatient. It went so slow, and I still went too fast, and but definitely I need to get back in the saddle as well, because I've been way too much online, and do more of that. And yeah, and get
Yeah.
back into my energy, because eventually I just want to be able to move somebody's I don't know, telephone on their table on the other side of the world.
Well, and I mean, if you're at that point, I mean, why just move a telephone? Like, why don't you just go fly over there and bang on their window?
Yes. Well, I don't have any out of body experiences or anything like that, or entities, like, and but it's absolutely, it seems that I always develop everything, like, um in the opposite way that others do. I always start at the end, and then all of a sudden
Have
I
to
go.
work your way back into understanding why you're doing it.
It's amazing how that works. It was
Yeah.
like, oh, I can do telekinesis. Now I need to understand everything why I can do it, right?
Oh man, story of my life. It's like, why am I doing that? Oh,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
It's amazing, yeah, how that works.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
I over and over again. And then, like, recently, I was like, gosh, still can't get rid of these panic attacks. What is it? What is it? And then all of a sudden, I found out I've been working like 25 years on a symptom instead of the root.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I guess it's just that's the way how it has to be,
It
right?
has
And
to be. Otherwise, it would have worked out another way.
Yes, but it's so fun. And, and indeed, I do see everything as a challenge now, as a good, positive challenge,
Yeah.
right? Even if I'm down or if really something bad happens that, like, I used to like be depressed for like weeks and months on end. And now
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, bring it on. What is it? What is it that I need to learn?
Oh,
Right?
yes, yes. That's where I'm at right now, it's like, "What was that? Did I just feel fear? I felt fear. Yay! Let's go into it."
Oh well, I'm still very, very scared of panic attacks. So that
Mhm.
is something I'm because I've lived for 48 years with that terror,
Yeah,
you know.
that's a long time, like,
Oh
it's a
yeah,
long time to have an embedded nervous system problem inside of you that's always turning over and doing the same thing over and over and over
right.
again. It embeds itself. It creates a lot of habits around it.
Oh yeah, and that's the most difficult part right now to
Yeah,
get rid of, to just step over that block there. Because if you don't know any different, then now I have to find out, like, how is it different then, how what is it like to do this and that, and that without actually feeling like I'm unsafe,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so, yeah, that's a bit of a thing that I'm still struggling with, but it's fine, it's all part of the deal. And yeah, I do see it that way. And and it serves a purpose as well, because uh, slowly you go towards that path, you encounter all little other things that
Oh, I'm
actually
losing
are
you.
like, you know, you're like, is it getting dark where you're at? Is it getting dark?
Yeah, yeah, I keep on having to turn up yeah, I keep on having to turn up the screen right here because I can't see myself in the camera. Like, yeah, the sun's going down. It's all blue out here now.
Oh, well, we're going to wrap it up soon before we cannot see you anymore anyway. But is there
Uh,
anybody
I'll
here?
just turn this up more and be like, "Hi."
Is there anybody has a question for Eric? Just drop it there, and I'll and let me see. Yeah, everybody wants to go to Iseti. I think there's going to be a bunch of people next year in July.
I sure hope so.
Yeah. At a bug, and yet you look like you're only 25 years old, Keystone. Yeah, that's because my telomeres,
You just
No,
grow
this
them out. You just make them longer. It's like they clip off that last little bit right there. You just make two more grow.
yeah, exactly. I just make an extra strand before I get an extra ear. You know. Let me see. Well, I don't see any questions per se. But is there anything you want to say to people, like how can they? Because what I encounter, this is why I also talk about all these things on my channel, is because many people literally need to learn to heal.
Yeah.
And it's that first step, right? It's
Hmm.
just like me when I was like for 48 years with that same crappy life that I had, like everything, and then all of a sudden, boom, Eric comes along. But it's not about that only. It's also
Yeah.
about the how quick your whole life can change around just
Yeah.
by finding the right way to deal with it, and to know that it's possible. And this is what I'm actually trying to put forth, like healing is something that we need to learn to heal again.
Yeah.
And at first, and then you start your journey, whatever that
Mm.
is, right? And so what do you want to say to people that are?
Definitely. Definitely. There's something I actually was just talking about with a client today. So let's say, for instance, that there's somebody that you love who comes to you with the feeling of being unworthy, of not being good enough, of being extremely sad and, just very tired of being alive and in this body. You're not going to attack that person. You're going to bring them in for a hug. You're going to tell them how much you love them and how amazing they are, and you're going to want to help them feel better from that nasty sensation inside of themselves. And that's how we have to start treating ourselves. We have
Yeah,
to stop attacking the things that we don't like inside of us because it's just wounds. That's all they are. And if we go in and we keep on attacking wounds, all we're going to do is injure them more, and
exactly.
it's going to be more painful, more damaging. And we got to go into ourselves tender, gentle, and honest. Don't lie to yourself. Look at that darkness straight in the eyes and claim it. Because once you claim it and say, this is mine, then
Yeah.
you can say, all right, well, I don't want it anymore.
Well, that's definitely a very good one, because this is the one of the first thing I learned is to, you know, not look away from it because it's there. So,
Yeah.
and yeah, obviously, there's many people have this shame and guilt and whatever, but at the end of the day, you only help yourself with looking the problem in the eye, and
Hmm.
because the harder you push it away, the harder it comes back.
Yeah.
That's at least what I've learned, and also be open about it, because at the end of the day we all have our traumas, and
Oh,
there's
yeah.
also a big taboo around talking about it,
Yeah.
is what I see, and that's
Yeah,
yeah.
well, it's because it's uncomfortable and people don't like being uncomfortable. And so if you make somebody uncomfortable because you're talking about a trigger inside of you that is triggering something inside of them, they're not going to like it, you
Oh
know?
no.
And it's all about emotional intelligence and recognizing that some people just aren't ready yet.
That's
And
true.
they
You
got
need
to
to
sit
be
inside of
ready.
those nasty feelings until they are ready. That's all we can do is just love them from wherever level they're at.
Absolutely, yeah, I do agree with that. Yeah, people want to desperately know what books to read. What do you recommend them?
So that's a really good question. Okay, so for energetic movement and understanding health, I'm hands down Wong Q Kit.
Wait, let me
WONGKIEW. Yeah,
W
ONG.
O N G
And his middle name is KIEW.
K I
IEW. And then his last name is Kit. KIT.
Kit KIT.
And the complete book of Chinese medicine, that's definitely a required read to understand how your body is working on the inside.
Is that
He
the Chinese study?
Yeah,
What?
he's the Shaolin guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
So he's
have
got
that book.
the Do you?
Yeah, I never read it though.
You should probably read it. Like
Been
there's
there
a
for
reason it showed
years.
up.
No, isn't that
Fascinating.
The Chinese study?
No, it's called The Complete Book of Chinese Medicine.
Okay, let me the complete book of Chinese medicine.
Hmm.
Definitely
And then
gonna.
he has Qigong, CHIKUNG, for health and vitality, and the art of Qigong. Those are my three go-tos. And then he's got some other Shaolin stuff, but unless you're into martial arts, you're not going to really
Oh
uh,
yeah.
understand a lot of it, honestly. Like it's got a lot of body movement in it.
Well, I'm always been fascinated with the Shaolin Kung Fu.
Oh yeah,
Very.
they're brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant people. Like that is such a beautiful lineage, and I just honor everything that they brought down so much because
Yeah.
this guy, this man, in these books, he has nuggets of wisdom that have just been absolute godsends for me in my journey. And I wouldn't have the foundation I have today. I wouldn't understand anywhere near as much as I do today if it wasn't for this man right here and what he freely gave to humanity. Absolute genius. He's truly a master at what he does. And
Well, I definitely
um
wanna check that out. That's one
yeah,
Q
Wong Q
Q
Kit. Hmm.
one Q kit.
Hmm. And eventually one of these days I'm going to go to Malaysia and actually meet this guy.
Really? In
Oh yeah.
Malaysia he lives?
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean this the all these like the Qigong, the Shaolin Kung Fu, everything is based from energy, and
Hmm.
and that's why I like it, and
Well,
not like some random fight sports, whatever, because
well,
it's the philosophy.
well, it's actually really funny how it actually was really funny how kung fu came around. The actual physical martial art, it was nothing more than to prove that the mental and spiritual practices that they were doing were actually having an effect in the physical world.
Yeah.
And that's how Shaolin actually even developed to begin with. It was just to prove what they were doing was working.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I've seen like this whole documentary about it, like how they just like punch, in sand constantly. And I'm like,
uh-huh,
ooh, but at the end of the day, it's here. It's
yeah,
like walking on,
it's
on fire because
uh-huh,
you can do that. Like you can also burn yourself. Oh, this
yeah,
is a training I've done. So there was this druid and he said like the burn doctor, and he helps people of burns because he just cuts off that whole belief system. And I thought, okay, if he can do that, I can do that. So I started
yeah.
training, and I thought, if I'm gonna burn myself before the burn reaches my brain, puts it into, oh, that's pain, and so because of the pain and the shock, it causes the wound.
The pain, yeah, the wound,
Yeah.
yes.
And so what I did is I trained myself just like imagining that I was burning myself, and before it could reach my brain, that pain, that shock pain, I stopped it. And I did that and did that. And what do you know? A week later, I'm busy with my oven and it's like full blast on, like 220 degrees, right? Which is like hot, hot. It's Celsius. So I don't know in Fahrenheit. I burn myself,
Almost
but
500
because,
degrees, it's around there.
well, yeah. So I burn myself, which usually would incredibly like make immediately like a big fat, like third degree burn, right?
Hmm.
But because I was training, what happens is immediately my brain went stop, and I stopped it and I looked at it, not one red spot. And I
Hmm.
went with my hand full on it, on
Yeah.
on this 500 degrees, whatever Fahrenheit it is,
Oh
right?
yeah.
I went full on it. And immediately, because I was already training at that moment, I stopped that signal to my brain, and nothing happened. Nothing.
Well,
And
it's not just burns, it's everything. Like, say, for instance, that you have a cut. If you tell yourself no, you will actually seal it before it ever even starts to bleed on you. Like an internal injury, like a dislocation, a strained muscle, a hematoma, a bruise, all of these things. As soon as you feel the impact of it, and you just nope, that's not happening, and you just
that's
shut the
funny
response down.
because I never thought of that pain. I've done this all my life. I hate pain, right? So when you bump yourself
Huh?
and you're like, walk it off, but you feel that pain, right?
Yeah.
And now what I did, because then I can be so hyper, and then I bumped myself and I didn't feel it. And I was like, why do I have these black spots all over? Because I was busy in my brain, and
Uh
so I
huh.
didn't think of it. So then I thought, wait, so if I bump myself and I actually make it so that I won't feel the pain, because it's just a bump, and I don't have to feel the pain, since I don't feel it either if I'm busy in my head. And
Hmm.
so I did that, and it's like as soon as I bump, and I'm like, nope, 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 not gonna feel that. And literally, I don't feel it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it doesn't always work because you're not always in that focus, right? But
But when you
once you,
can be, it's effective. It really is.
yeah, but when
Yeah.
you're too late, you're too late. You're gonna feel it, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
and yeah, you get the wound too.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's where you cut it off, that
Hmm.
thought, and you literally need to train it. And it's
Yeah.
very, very interesting how that works.
Well, and it's all just setting up the neural pathways. And as soon as the neural pathway is set up and it's ready to go, then all you have to do is just let it do its thing because
Yeah,
it's already working.
yeah, it's
You just got to
amazing,
train
right?
it. Hmm.
And but then I can stand that I can do that, but then I cannot do something else that is actually bothering me, because I'm thinking like, because there's some little tiny belief system inside my brain that says nope, it's not possible.
Yeah.
It's so annoying when that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's why I've trained myself to not even listen to my brain. It's
Yeah,
like if I don't understand or I have second doubts or I'm guessing something and I don't know what's happening, I'll immediately tell my brain to be quiet and I'll go into nothing but the feeling and I'll start moving the chi. I'll start moving the energy. And then
right.
it's like the information starts to come up to the surface and then I can figure out where it's at. So even if I don't know what I'm doing, it doesn't matter because you can just follow into the flow and it shows you right where you need to be.
Oh wow. Yeah, I need to work more on that for sure. So uh let me see. Yeah, he's directly communicating with the molecules. Yeah.
Yep.
It's true.
It's the source harmonic, the emptiness that we call the 99.999% empty of the atom. It's not empty. It's just that we can't detect it. That's the spirit harmonic. That's the source tone frequencies that create these harmonies that create different fractalizations of sound and frequency, and that's what crystallizes energy into matter. In the beginning, there was the word. It was the vibration. It was the sound.
Yeah.
That's why we're
Yeah,
here.
interesting how there then you can connect back to all those things like,
Mhm.
whether it's the Bible, but also ancient knowledge and all these things,
Yeah.
everything comes back together. I love that.
Oh,
Gosh,
it's all connected.
this was such a great talk. I
Thank
mean, I
you.
can talk forever with you anyway,
It
but
was a good one. It really was.
yeah, but you're sitting there in the dark, so I don't want to keep you up in your car as well. Hey, thank you all for being here. And well, maybe one day we can get it back on and
I'd like that.
check his website and check out his YouTube as well. And I hope you all enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next week again. And thank you
Bye-bye.
so much, Eric, for coming.
You're
And if
very
you can
welcome.
just hang on there for a little
Uh-huh.
bit, and then I'll close it off. Thank you all. And where we go one, we go all. And peace out, all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was fun.